Hello, everybody. It's Bill Brandmeier here with Movement is the Medicine, our podcast that is specifically targeting the idea that movement is good for all of us. It's better for our lives. It makes us better people. It helps us with our brains. It makes life better. And getting outside and moving around in the fall is one of my favorite things to do. And I invite everybody, encourage everybody to get out there and move their bodies well and take advantage of the beautiful Kansas City weather. Fall is beautiful. The other night, my wife and I went out to the University of Kansas football game out at Sporting KC. We parked nearly a mile away from the stadium, walked in, walked out. It was such a beautiful opportunity for us to just enjoy this, these evenings, these incredibly wonderful evenings. Movement is the Medicine's been away for a while. We took a hiatus due to my partner, Doug Hugendijk, Dr. Doug, who comes on and he helps bring the expertise to the science of movement. He's a biomechanics doctor of physical therapy, PhDs from USC, has worked in the industry for over 30 years. And, his guidance has helped make this show something special. And if you haven't listened to any of our episodes, and this is the first time you've exposed to Movement as Medicine, you're going to get something a little different today because I'm by myself. Doug's not here. We're going to have another separate episode to talk about Doug's escapades through a traumatic experience that he just went through in his own personal life. Doug's going to come on and share the story of what happened with his foot as he injured himself, and it led to a lot of complications. And as we talked through it, he's going to share what it meant to be unable to move for over 10 days and how that experience went for him. But today's a very special day, and I don't want to get to the punchline too quick, but it is September 17th. Today is the day that the Aspen Institute, their Project Play division, Health and Sports and Health division, is releasing their State of Play report for Kansas City community. The Kansas City State of Play report is a year-long qualitative research project and some science behind the state of play in our youth sports in Kansas City. And it is monumental in what it says and what it is a catalyst for as we move forward in this area. So I want to tell you a little bit about the state of play. I want to share with you how it got started, how we got to this point. And I want to reinforce the idea that this Movement is the Medicine podcast is firmly planted in the bedrock of Shareways Foundation's efforts to educate parents, teachers, and coaches on what it means to use youth sports to transform kids' lives. That's what we're trying to do, is transform kids' lives in the United States and me specifically here in Kansas City with the power of movement, exercise, and sports engagement. The more kids play sports, the better they are. The science is clear. All of the data tells us that kids who play sports are connected in ways that we don't even understand, and that the more we can give our kids the opportunity to play sports all the way through high school, the better. And that's what this episode is going to focus on, because the State of Play report provides a deep dive into the findings and implications of the youth sports in our region. And what it did was it did a survey of 4,200 young student athletes and non-athletes and asked them what they wanted out of physical activity and exercise and youth sports. The Aspen Institute, I want to go back because I want to tell the story of how this all started. And this is more just kind of me rambling, but I think it's a really important way to begin. When we first started Sharewaves, we identified the Aspen Institute's Project Play. They had been around for 5 years. They had just released their State of Play for the United States. It's an incredible document that outlines 8 different plays that need to take place in order to improve the lives of our kids through sports. And it was the bedrock, it was the idea, it was the impetus for what we were trying to do with the Kansas City Shareways Foundation. Shareways, powered by Sports Radio 810 WHB, came together to, as we said early on, our mission is to enhance the opportunities or advance the opportunities for every kid to experience the life-enriching power of sports. That's what Sharewaves is trying to do. And when we saw what the Aspen Institute was trying to do, we were like, we are like-minded, we are focused on the same things. And what we loved about the Aspen Institute's approach was when they looked at the different issues and challenges that were facing our kids, they identified one key issue. We forgot to ask kids what they want. What do kids want out of sports? And so the Aspen Institute, as they asked that question, they found some really remarkable answers. And we're going to get to those answers as we dig down into this book. But the first thing that they identified, the biggest problem with kids are that they're dropping out of sports at age 13. We have kids that are leaving sports at age 13. And this is a good example of one of the infographics that they sent to us to post. It's the infographic that shows that Kansas City specifically is suffering from the same problem that the kids are suffering from nationally. And that is they're not getting 60 minutes of activity a day. In the Kansas City region, we have boys getting 24%, well, let me say this right. 24% of the boys in our city are getting 60 minutes a day. And that number is maybe overstated. That's a lot, 60 minutes a day, but it's what the kids need to, be healthy and to engage with the world in a way that gets them off their phones and gets them out of their rooms and gets them engaged with their friends. And the sad part is that girls are suffering worse. Almost 10% less of the girls in our city are getting 60 minutes a day. And we all know that there are huge benefits with having our kids play together, work out together, enjoy physical activity together. But the more we can do to impact kids in this unique way, the better. And so we are looking at the Aspen Institute report and going, this is a big finding. This is a big result. To understand that we have this kind of problem in our city, really kind of turns up the heat a little bit on what are we doing to encourage our kids to stay engaged with something that's going to move their bodies up to 60 minutes a day and really increase the amount of activity that they have throughout the week. And so that's one of the major things that this document, this report shows. The document's available at the Aspen Institute Project Play website. There's links you can find. If you go to my YouTube page, you'll find the link in the show notes for this episode. I'll also include my LinkedIn page for Movement is the Medicine, and my LinkedIn page for Sharewaves, and my LinkedIn page for me personally. I'm Bill Brandmeier. I'm the co-host of this Movement is the Medicine podcast. If you don't know who I am, that's who I am. I've been working for 5 years to try to help kids play sports. The whole foundation of Sharewaves has shifted to trying to harness the power of sports to create holistic development of better kids, using sports as kind of that carrot to get kids into a space where we can teach them to be better people. And so the whole focus on that has been, how do we get the Kansas City region to understand that our youth sports system has some problems. There are some issues that are happening that are driving kids away from sports participation, especially in high school. And so we initially identified the Aspen Institute as an organization that we wanted to work with and partner with. And in our involvement with Children's Mercy Hospital, we started talking about what it might mean to bring Aspen to Kansas City. And Children's Mercy Hospital, as they always do, stepped up in a big way. And they actually footed the bill for this study to be conducted here in Kansas City as part of their Kansas City Physical Activity Plan, which is headed up by Robin Shook and the Healthy Child Lifestyles and Nutrition Group at Children's Mercy Hospital. They spent the money that it takes to bring an organization like Aspen to Kansas City to conduct this kind of research. And so hats off to Children's Mercy. Thank you so much for who you are, what you are. I don't know anyone that's ever engaged with this hospital and not come away just impressed with who and what they are, what they're all about. And working with the Aspen Institute, it's the same kind of feeling. You're dealing with the top people in the industry on what it means to engage kids in sports. And to bring them to Kansas City to conduct the Kansas City State of Play report is just a huge deal. The whole objective of the report is to create information that will drive change within our community. And so that's what's actually happening. And when you look at the next infographic that kind of describes, what kids are experiencing. One of the major things, and this is one of the things that Shareways tried to address early on in our existence as a nonprofit, we were trying to close the disparity gap. We knew that low-income homes were less likely to enjoy sports and gain the knowledge through participation than the wealthiest kids in Kansas City. Kids with resources had what they needed, and kids without resources were lacking. And we spent a lot of time trying to, really get money from the wealthy and give it to the poor. Just, it's kind of that Robin Hood mentality of how do you close the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And as we went out to the community to try to ask for help, we were struggling with explaining what was happening and why it was so important that we invest our philanthropic dollars in this area. And so through the report, it shows that there is a line that's drawn. And what's interesting about the report is it's not only the wealthiest and the least, it's not the most and the least, but even the kids in the middle are lagging behind the kids who have more resources. And a kid whose parents can afford for him to play lacrosse and play hockey and play baseball and travel with his peers and go to different events outside of the city and be involved, they're having the best experiences in youth sports. And the kids who can't afford that are not. And obviously that seems like a no-brainer, but the seriousness of the problem is clear, and the disparities exist. And that's one of the things that Shareways is trying to work through. I don't think much more needs to be said about that. As you look through the report, you'll see that that's one of the key issues here. One of the other things that I think the State of Play Kansas City report touches on is this idea of the mental health of our kids. Kansas City children, I think it's safe to say that mental health of our teenagers is on everybody's mind. When you look at the data over the last 10 years, you see a steady decline of our children's mental health wellness. And it kind of fits in the onset of the smartphone and their access to social media and their access to different negative things that they can access on their phones, and the time that they spend in front of screens. And it was exacerbated by COVID. Obviously, COVID made things worse for every child in the United States as we separated kids from their social groups and from their schools. But what was not anticipated and what's exciting about this whole report is the idea that children who play sports are 2.5 times less likely to feel depressed. So physical activity is the answer. I mean, the whole idea of movement as the medicine is based on that idea that there's a meta-analysis that was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine that says that physical activity is 1.5 times more effective than therapy or medication at improving our depressive states of mind. And so we know that physical activity is the answer, but to see here in Kansas City that kids who are physically active are 2 times less likely to feel depressed, I think that's just a huge piece of the puzzle that we need to press into. We are absolutely convinced that kids who play sports are mentally more fit. They're more likely to be connected to something greater than themselves. They're more likely to share themselves with the group of people so that there's more exposure to who and what they are and what they want to be. And kids who are tied to this sports environment within Kansas City, if we can equip our caregivers, our coaches, and our parents with the social emotional skill sets to handle and use sports as a weapon to help kids, then we can really do a lot of good for a lot of kids and help alleviate some of the pressures kids are feeling. And hopefully, eventually, some of the negative outcomes that are a result of depression and loneliness and isolation. On the very far spectrum of this problem, this mental health issue, we have kids that are hurting themselves. We have kids that are experiencing, violence. They're turning to violence. They're turning to addiction. They're finding themselves doing things that are at the very edges of this are really destructive. And so those are kids that we want to reach. But as a whole, the whole idea that kids who play sports are more mentally well, I mean, that's just something we should all be into. I mean, that's a big thing. So we want to make sure that we understand the results of this study also impress upon us that there's that incredible opportunity to use sports to help kids with their mental health. You know, other parts of the report that I found interesting, there's just a couple of infographics that I want to share on what are the most popular sports, what do kids love to play, you know, what do they want to try. The girls, they want to do cheerleading, volleyball. Roller skating kind of has taken a turn to upward trend. People love that idea. For boys, it's tackle football. I mean, obviously with the Chiefs winning 3 consecutive championships. Oh, wait, they haven't won 3, but, you know, 3 in the last 5 years, which is huge. And the Royals winning. We have this opportunity with tackle football. Archery is kind of an interesting sport that kids want to try. And I know that when I had the opportunity to have my daughter experience archery, she just freaking loved the whole idea of it and how it worked. Now, it's not the most physically engaging sport, but at the same time, you're outside and you're experiencing nature and you're, you know, especially if you go on hikes and hunts and stuff like that, archery is a big deal. Weightlifting, obviously, it's a safer sport and it's really good for us. Basketball and soccer. So those are the sports that kids want to play and try. I think that if kids had all the resources and all the knowledge, sports like lacrosse and hockey and baseball would probably be moved up that list. We know that volleyball for boys is increasing everywhere we go. There are a lot of boys skating now too. So the idea that there are multiple opportunities for kids to play sports, that's the kind of the key here. And I want to get back to that question that we asked early on in the podcast before I close. What Kansas City youth like most about playing sports? What's the answer to the question, what do kids want out of sports? The number one answer across the country, across the world, is that kids want to have fun. Remember the song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun? Well, kids just want to have fun. They want to play with their friends. The top 2 answers are having fun and playing with their friends. The idea of winning, and winning at all costs, winning is low on the give a damn scale for these kids. Winning comes in 6th. And college scholarships come in 7th or 8th. Parents that are driving kids into their sports so that they can have a better college paid for or become professional. The drive to win, that's inherent in the competitive nature of sports. And Shareways by no means is here to, or, you know, Movement as a Medicine or the Aspen Institute or anyone in this area, Children's Mercy Hospital, we're not trying to say that we need to stop the competition. Competition is good for all of us. Competition is good for kids. But the extremes of youth sports have driven kids into elite play and into travel teams at younger and younger ages. And parents are forcing kids into things, into environments, into activities that they don't really want to be in. What kids want out of sports is to have fun. And if your kid's not having fun, no matter what level he's playing, no matter what his gifts are, no matter where, that's where we have a big problem. And that's where we want to make sure that we're understanding and we're asking kids, what do you want out of sports? Well, all of that to say is, even if you don't play sports, movement is so important. Physical activity and exercise are 2 of the keys to making life better. And playing sports just gives you that extra opportunity to gamify, you know, movement and physical activity. And so that whole process, that whole idea is what Sharewaves is grounded in. We believe that kids who play sports, they have more movement in their lives, they have more physical activity in their lives, and they're better off as they go through life. What they learn through sports, not just the skill set development, but what they learn social emotionally, how to win, how to lose, how to fight for a goal, how to play with a team, how to celebrate sportsmanship, and how to prioritize what's important. All of these things come out of the experience of being a part of a team. And even in solo sports, you learn what determination and resilience and fight and drive and what it means to practice hard and how you gain results by applying yourself. So all of these things make up this incredible opportunity that sports gives our kids. And it's where Share Waves has found its niche. We are strategically designed to advance opportunities for all kids to experience the life-enriching power of sports. And what we're doing in our partnerships with Children's Mercy Hospital and our partnerships with Aspen Institute and our partnerships with our supporters, the people that have been with us, specifically Sports Radio 810 WHB and the people of Union Broadcasting and our friends at the different sponsors that have come forward to help support us. What we are all trying to do is weaponize sports, harness the power of sports to build better humans, to make kids better. The more we invest in our kids at this point, the better our kids will be. And we feel like movement is the medicine that our kids need now and in the future to become the best versions of themselves. And so it's somewhat of a religion for us. We feel it very deeply in our hearts and souls that this is the right thing to do. And we are inviting other organizations to come together with us and form a coalition, as the Aspen Institute's Project Play recommends. That this is not just a report that has great stats. This has recommendations of what we should do to be better. And in those recommendations, they feature and they focus on this idea of forming a coalition, bringing people together, small nonprofits, larger nonprofits, and creating system change for our kids, for the sake of our kids, to help our kids become better people. And that's what Share Waves is on a mission to do. We invite you to join us. We invite you to listen to Movement as a Medicine. We'll be back with a regular episode. Dr. Doug is going to tell his story. And as he has gone through his ordeal, he's had some time to think, and he has had some time to plan. And he's got 12 to 15 episodes lined up with some of the most incredible guests you could possibly imagine. We are going to have some gold medalists. We're going to have some state-of-the-art coaches. We're going to have some cognitive therapists that understand the brain better than we do. We're going to have some individuals that help motivate athletes to perform at the highest levels, that are going to share their thoughts and their information. So Movement as a Medicine is just getting started. We invite you to join us every week. If you stay close to the YouTube page, subscribe to that, or you can subscribe to us on all of the different channels. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube, which is great. And share and like us. LinkedIn. We've got a LinkedIn page. We've got a Facebook page. So Movement is the Medicine is the podcast. We're a very moving podcast. That's the whole idea. And we'll be back with Dr. Doug, and I'm Coach Baldy, or Coach B. And we're excited that you joined us. And thanks for listening. And as I always say, dance like nobody's watching.